Why does life place in front of us someone who makes every cell in our body vibrate only to rip them away before we can hold on? Why? Out of billions of people, does the universe send us someone who feels carved straight into our soul, yet destined never to stay? And what if the pain of loving someone we can never have isn't punishment at all, but a key the universe uses to unlock the parts of ourselves we've been too afraid to face? Carl Jung, the great cartographer of the human soul, believed that nothing we desire is an accident. What you resist persists, and maybe without even realizing it, you've resisted yourself for so long that life had to send you an impossible person to tear down your denial. Think about it. How often do you swallow your hunger to be more? How often do you pretend you don't feel, don't want, don't dream higher? Until one glance, one brief touch, one fleeting presence sets your whole being on fire. Suddenly you realize loneliness wasn't the absence of another person, it was the absence of yourself. I won't lie to you. I won't give you easy advice. I won't tell you the pain will disappear overnight. But if you stay here with me in this quiet corner of the night, I'll whisper truths you may never have heard before. You didn't lose anyone. You found yourself. Maybe she walked into your life unannounced. Maybe you weren't ready, no one ever is. A shared look, a careless word, a touch that never even happened. And suddenly the absence feels bigger than any presence. You try to deny it, rationalize it, laugh at yourself. It's just a crush. I'll get over it. But deep down you know you won't, because this isn't about them. It's about you. Jung said every soul carries hidden holes, gaps no routine fills, no safe love reaches. And one day life sends someone who touches that exact emptiness. You call it love. You call it destiny. But really, it's you remembering parts of yourself you let die. You don't desire them. You desire the version of you that awakens in their presence. You crave the courage, the laughter, the fire rushing through your veins when they're near. You crave the feeling of being alive, even if only for a few seconds, in a way you can't explain to anyone else. That impossible person is your cruelest mirror and your most sacred. They show you what you could be if you weren't so afraid. If you hadn't settled for crumbs of love, crumbs of life, crumbs of courage. They didn't come to be yours. They came to be your warning. Wake up. Yes, I know. It's unfair. How do you bear seeing the light and then being thrown back into the dark? How do you keep breathing with that burning hole in your chest? How do you sleep? Knowing a smile, a voice, a touch exists but will never belong to your daily life, but whoever said they were meant to stay? Some presences are simply too vast to be contained by ordinary love. We try to fit them into Sunday mornings, into cups of coffee, into the comfort of daily routine. But encounters like this don't belong to the everyday. They only belong to the soul. And that's why they hurt, and that's why they free you. You cannot own what was sent to remind you of the infinity living inside you. Sure, you can force conversations, beg for one more chance, even humiliate yourself trying to turn fate into coexistence. But a part of you already knows it won't work. And it's not supposed to, because if it did, if that impossible person became just another routine, you would grow comfortable again. You would smother the fire, silence the awakening, and trade something divine for something domestic. All that was sacred in that encounter would slowly die under the weight of the ordinary. So maybe, just maybe, it's time to stop fighting battles that have no solution. Instead of asking the universe to give back the impossible, ask yourself, what did this impossible love come to reveal about me? What is it in him or her that makes me tremble? Is it the courage, the unrestrained smile, the way they speak truths without fear? Now look in the mirror. Where is that in me? Why did I bury it? Why do I live so afraid of being exactly that? Jung once said. Who looks outside dreams. Who looks inside awakens. That impossible person is your invitation to stop dreaming and finally awaken to yourself. You won't forget them, and you shouldn't want to. That absence is now your flame. Each time it burns, remember, if I can feel this deeply, then I can live this deeply. The impossible person isn't your missing half. They're the announcement of your wholeness, so while nostalgia cuts, embrace it. While the memory squeezes your chest, let yourself smile through it. While your lungs burn, breathe anyway. You are alive. And this pain, it's your proof of existence. Let it burn. It's not destroying you, it's burning away everything that is not you. Have you ever really looked at yourself in the mirror? I don't mean that quick glance in the bathroom when you fix your hair and pretend everything's fine. I mean staring into your own eyes until you feel ashamed of what you've hidden there. That's how Jung saw the human psyche, a mirror that never lies even when we insist on lying to ourselves. When an impossible person crosses your path, Jung would say, "Don't run. Look at them closely. They aren't just flesh or voice or beautiful eyes. They are a symbol. A projection. Your unconscious dressed in human form, screaming truths you've refused to hear." In Jung's language, projection is what happens when we spill onto someone else everything we cannot admit about ourselves. We fall for those who live freely, the very things we secretly long to embody. We fall for their freedom, their passion, their boldness, because those are the exact qualities we've been suffocating inside ourselves just to fit into this lukewarm life we call stability. Look at that impossible person. Ask yourself what exactly sets me on fire about them. Maybe it's their carefree laughter. Maybe it's the fearless way they throw themselves into the world. Maybe it's the depth in their eyes, as if they could hear even the words you never dared to say out loud. But here's the truth. All of that belongs to you, not to them. They only reflect it back. They are the mirror your unconscious placed before you, so you could finally see the flame still alive beneath the gray routine of your days. Every projection is really a muffled cry for self-knowledge. It's your soul whispering, "Look, this is who you could be if only you stopped sabotaging yourself." And yes, it hurts. Because mirrors don't just show, they also frustrate. You can touch it, but not hold it. Kiss it, but it won't stay. And then confusion sets in. You start to believe that the other person is the solution, that only by being with them will you feel whole again. Nonsense. Jung would smile wryly. The other is not your savior. They are your messenger. They didn't come to patch your wounds. They came to show you where they are. What you do after that is up to you. Some people run. They block, ignore, and escape into lukewarm relationships, pretending the wound isn't there. Others cling to the pain like an addiction, replaying every word, every smile, every touch in their minds, feeding the absence as if nostalgia were the only fuel to stay alive. But there is a third path, the rarest one. The path of those who understand that loving the impossible is really the first time they've loved themselves, even if they don't yet know how. It's choosing not to shatter Jung's mirror, not to steal its image, but to become what it reflects. Think about it. That person lives the life you buried within yourself, the courage to say no, the freedom to laugh out loud when the world tells you to stay quiet, the passion that makes your blood boil with every choice. Now, silently, honestly, make yourself a promise. I don't need them to do this. I only need me. Jung spoke of the self, that sacred core within each of us that cries out to be fully lived. Every deep encounter, every piercing loss is a key. Each pain the other causes is a door. The choice is yours. Open it and step inside, or stay asleep, pretending you have nothing left to discover. Maybe the great irony of life is this. An impossible person arrives not to complete you, but to teach you that you were always complete. You spend sleepless nights yearning for them, when in truth those nights were meant to rebuild you. And do you know the greatest revenge against absence? Transformation. Turning what once was pain into power. Becoming so whole that one day when you recall their smile, you no longer think, "I needed them to be happy." Instead, you realize, "I needed them to awaken the one I was always meant to be." The mirror of Jung never lies. It shines in the form of a face you cannot kiss at will. Use it wisely, because if you dare to see what it reflects, you will never be the same again. There are wounds that tear and wounds that stitch. Impossible love does both. It breaks you into 1,000 pieces, and yet leaves you more complete than you ever were before. Strange, isn't it? But that's how the universe teaches us what we would never dare to learn on our own. When someone burns inside you without being able to inhabit your daily life, you are forced to discover a love most people will never experience. Love without possession, without control, without promises. A love that doesn't fill space but creates it. Jung saw this kind of pain as sacred. Not a punishment, but an initiation, a wound that doesn't kill, but awakens something fiercer, sharper, more alive within you. And this kind of courage can't be bought with cliches or self-help slogans. Look closer. What really hurts isn't their absence. It's the death of your illusions about love. We grow up believing love means having someone, holding on tight, building plans, securing their presence. But then, life spits in your face and says not always. And suddenly you are forced to love without having. To love knowing you never will. To love by letting go. Yes, it hurts. It burns like 1,000 demons, but it also heals. Because this pain digs deeper than any comfortable relationship ever could. It strips away the surface and shows you who you are when you're naked of guarantees. Look at yourself now. You're here listening because you miss them, because your chest aches, because your mind replays every detail, every word, every touch, maybe even ones that never really happened. You don't want to let go. I know, but hear me, holding on won't bring them back. It will only chain you tighter, so allow yourself to break. Cry the tears you've been holding back. Scream into the pillow if you must. Curse the universe for this cruel irony. Swear you'll never love again. But then, in the silence that follows, listen to your heartbeat. Notice what remains when every hope of possession dissolves. What remains is you. You without masks, you without scripts, you raw, torn, still beating. And that version of you is the most beautiful of all because it doesn't depend on anyone else to exist. Believe me, loving someone impossible doesn't mean loving less. It means loving more deeply. It proves that your love doesn't need contracts, promises, or routines to be real. It shows that your love is so vast, it survives absence and even feeds on it to grow stronger. Maybe that's the secret almost no one understands. Impossible love doesn't destroy your ability to love. It destroys your ability to love poorly. After you survive this, you won't accept crumbs anymore. You won't settle for halves. You won't fit into lukewarm relationships. You'll be too big to fit into anything small. And ironically, that's when healing finally takes root, not when you beg for the other person to return, but when you start to thank the wound. Because you realize it was the wound that pushed you out of the gray zone where you were surviving but not living. Carl Jung used to say our greatest wounds are also our greatest sources of light. You don't have to believe that right now. Just keep it in mind for the nights when nostalgia claws at your chest and feels unbearable. Breathe. Feel. Don't run from the pain. And notice every tear that falls is a part of you dying only to give birth to something more alive. Yes, impossible love breaks you, but it also heals you. And the one who survives this never comes back the same. They come back wilder, more authentic, more complete. So don't fear the pain. Fear a life where you never felt anything this real. Think about it if you've stayed with me this far. It means the words are stirring something inside you that you usually keep buried. And I understand I've been there too. I've had to learn the hard way that some loves arrive only to tear us apart. But in the end, those very tears are what stitch us back together with the thread of who we truly are. Impossible love doesn't weaken your ability to love. It purifies it. It burns away the illusions, leaving only what's real. After this, you'll never again settle for a love that is half-hearted, tepid, or safe. You'll crave something authentic because now you know what it feels like to be set on fire. Jung believed that the soul wastes nothing. No encounter is in vain. Every absence leaves a mark no one else can erase. Every sigh swallowed, every tear hidden, every midnight of silence, each becomes muscle for your courage. You are no longer the same person, and you shouldn't want to be. What burned purified you. What remains is seed, and what still hurts That's just the reminder of the one person you promised never to abandon again yourself. So the next time nostalgia bites, remember the greatest answer is not to bring the other person back. The greatest answer is to become so whole that even in their absence you overflow. Surviving the impossible means that now everything is possible. I know this may have stirred corners of your soul you would rather keep closed, but that's where the true transformation lives. Those dark corners are not punishments, they're invitations. Because when you let yourself be torn open by impossible love, you also let yourself be rewoven into someone fiercer, someone freer, someone more alive. And if you've listened this far in the silence of this conversation that feels almost like a midnight confession, thank you. Truly. It's an honor to whisper these uncomfortable truths to someone brave enough to look into their own abyss without running. Jung believed our deepest commitment isn't to the people we love, it's to the person we are capable of becoming. That means today's pain is not a punishment, but the most honest invitation to transformation. And one day you'll see, I promise you, you'll smile in the middle of an ordinary Monday and finally understand that impossible person was never your destiny, never your curse. They were your wake-up call. Until then, breathe, feel, and let the impossible remain just that, an unclaimed mirror that gave you back the most valuable thing of all, yourself. So close your eyes now, take a deep breath as if you were saying goodbye to a beautiful dream that no longer fits in the night, and ask yourself with ruthless honesty, who am I after all of this? Do you notice it? What once felt like punishment was in fact an open door, an invitation to everything you were afraid to become. You didn't lose love, you gained permission. Permission to be vaster, wilder, more alive than you ever dared. Jung would remind you the soul doesn't waste encounters. Nothing is in vain. Every absence left a trace that no one else can erase. Every hidden sob, every swallowed tear. Every dawn of silence, all of it became the muscle of your courage. You are no longer who you were, and you shouldn't want to be. Because what burned has purified you. What remains is seed, and what still aches, that's just the memory of the self you swore never to abandon again. So if nostalgia bites again, remember the answer isn't to bring the other person back. The answer is to overflow so completely that even in absence you radiate. That's how you know you survived the impossible, and now anything is possible. And before you go, take this with you. Impossible love doesn't break you to punish you. It breaks you to rebuild you. It doesn't make you smaller. It makes you vast. If these words resonated with you, share them. Because somewhere out there, someone is quietly bleeding from their own impossible love, waiting for the reminder that they are not alone. And if you'd like to keep walking this path with me, subscribe. Not for me, for yourself. So that the next time your soul needs a voice to stir it awake, you'll know where to find it. Remember this, you were never incomplete. You were just asleep. And love, even impossible love, was always meant to wake you up.